You're not welcome here.
Images of another refugee tragedy are shocking the world. The body of a young boy, thought to be 3 years old, was found dead on a beach. It's thought that the boat, carrying refugees, capsized off the coast, in what looks like another final, desperate attempt to flee the violence.
It was always for you. Everything we faced, everything we went through, it was always about you. So many people didn't want us to let you have the life we dreamed for you.
These people will take our jobs, our homes.
We can't afford this.
They'll take this country from our children. They're diseased.
You are losing all sense of judgment.
These are not our
You're
people,
not
and they're not
welcome
our
here.
responsibility.
You're not welcome here.
We could only hope that someone, somewhere, wanted to help us.
Some people say these South Asians aren't our problem. Well, this is my call to action. Ottawa, I say we'll take 4,000.
Marion Dewar was a doer. She believed in social justice. She really believed in the rights of women. She was a feminist. And she believed in working for peace. That was true when she was working as a private woman, and it was true when she became mayor of Ottawa.
For Mom, Project 4000 was about living her values. And she felt very strongly she had a role to play, and that there was no hesitation as to what that role should be.
We lived a decent life. But after the war, this was our only choice. We left our homes and faced unfriendly waters.
Because what would our lives have been if they stayed, right? We would have been forced from our home. So they didn't have any hesitation because they had no choice in the matter. It was a rickety fishing boat, roughly the size of a yellow school bus.
There were mothers, fathers, families, all crammed on that boat. We were so afraid. Our destination was 5 days away. Your sister was so hungry. But you were so sick, my child. So sick. You had dysentery. There was no medicine on board. no fresh water. The doctor said you shouldn't have made it. You were lucky, though. Other children were thrown out at sea.
She trained as a nurse, and she became a public health nurse. Public health nurses like to fix things. When Doer saw that something was wrong, she wanted to fix it.
Both of her parents were immigrants, and she always connected with people who were newcomers. And when my father and my mother saw the images of the Vietnamese being stranded, literally, she also recalled the story of how Canada had turned its back on Jewish refugees.
You're not welcome here. There's no more room. Turn your boat around. We will not accept you.
We didn't think we'd make it alive.
My dad jumped first and then asked my mother to throw me overboard, and I went overboard when Dad grabbed me. And then he found a floating piece of wood so I could hold on to it. My mother jumped overboard with my 1-year-old sister, and we swam to shore. You could see the beach, but they didn't know if they were going to make it. And all that doubt came flooding back. Maybe if we stayed, at least we wouldn't be putting our lives at risk, but now we're at this life and death situation with our children.
We could pretend that this is someone else's problem. But in the meantime, a lot of people would be at the bottom of the ocean.
We waited in the camps for weeks. We didn't know who would take us. We didn't know where we would go. But eventually, someone took us. Ottawa. It wasn't easy. So different. So new. So cold. She cared. Marion Jur cared. The mayor of Ottawa promised to help. And she did.
There's a lot of sympathy for them. There's also a lot of hostility.
It's important to underline this, that we all look back at that time of Project 4000 as being a kind of golden era, that everyone was out to look out for one another. But, well, we have to also acknowledge there was some deep-seated racism and xenophobia.
In the city archives, you can find, would you call it hate mail? Certainly letters from people who didn't like what she was doing.
My mother, being the person she was listed in the phone book. So we used to get all sorts of interesting calls all the time. We got calls, and I received calls at home as a teenager, of people who were extraordinarily racist. They're going to take our jobs away.
What about taking care of our own?
We can't afford to do it.
You're losing all sense of judgment!
Why are we taking those people in?
You're insane to let those commies in.
It confused me, obviously, as a kid, and it angered me. But I also felt threatened because some people were very angry.
But look at you now.
When my parents arrived in Canada, it wasn't their future that they were fighting for. It was always ours. They don't boast about their achievements. They talk about my sister, who's a pharmacist. They talk about my brother, who's a city planner. They talk about me, who is a reporter. We are their success.